Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a journey of an investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades. We do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for as little as $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at some of the recent posts by John Brda, and then I'm going to be looking at Rule 6490 and also commenting on some of the key highlights from that rule and if it could potentially affect MMTLP. Then I'm going to be sharing with you a recent response from William Stuart. I had just spoken to him earlier today. And finally, I will be sharing my own opinions in terms of going forward from Monday. So let's start first of all by having a look at some of the posts that were shared earlier today by John Brda and also late yesterday. So let's start with the post here at the bottom, and what John stated here is a friend spoke with a FINRA examiner. He was told that they were acutely aware of the MMTLP issue but could deny corporate action or request change to S1 using Rule 6490. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to be looking at 6490 in terms of some of the key highlights from that. But just to emphasize what John has said here, he said that they could deny, not will deny, or are deny. So emphasis should be on John's word there, which are could deny. So certainly there is no indication that they are denying or they will deny. So emphasis should be on could deny, and we'll be sharing opinions on that later on again. What John has also stated here, last bullet point in 6490 reads, it can be denied if there is significant uncertainty in the settlement and clearance process for the security, telling if denied for this reason, FINRA listed MMTLP with no issuer knowledge and with fraud info, protect members or investors, question mark. So we will also look at that as well shortly, but let's have a look at some of the other posts so we just get an overall picture. The next one I'd like to share with you is with regard to the original history in terms of MMTLP and how it was born. So shout out here also to Kay Kep, and what John's posted in terms of this original tweet here is great information. How do we find out who filed for the 211 to trade? Then we start seeing who the snakes are. So I think John is referring to the market makers there who created MMTLP, and we still as investors do not know who was behind that. So let's have a look at this website here, otce.finra.org, and we can see there at the bottom, I think the date is 6th of October 2021, 9:27 a.m. and 2 seconds, edition MMTLP Metamaterials Incorporated, and that is when it was born. So thank you very much there for finding that. So there is going to be a little bit more digging, but as of yet it's this was something that was not supposed to have happened. So let's continue with the theme of John Brda's tweets here so we can share the response shortly. So the next one here, again tagging in FINRA in terms of a shout out also here to Short Squeeze. FINRA hashtag do your job, what can we do? Call FINRA. So that's also a message that was shared in my previous video. So there is a perception by many investors that FINRA may be subject to external influences, and special thanks to all the investors who are tagging in FINRA and reminding them about being fair, honest and acting in the interest of investors. So let's have a look at some others before we share the responses. And the final post I'm going to share with you is just something that's happened very recently. So what John has stated here just a few minutes ago is, I hear there is a bit of confusion going on. FINRA has not notified anyone of anything. We are continuing to move forward and will push this through. You are all excellent at finding information, just engaging the group to help. So thank you very much there, John. I think some people may have misunderstood some of these posts, but again, thanks for clarifying this. But the key message here in this final tweet is that we are continuing to move forward and will push this through. So let's now have a look at the rule. So before sharing with you a response from William Stuart, I'm now going to have a look at Rule 6490, and I've highlighted some key points that I'd like to focus on. So let's start by the section A, which is highlighted as general. So the key rule title here is processing of company related actions. So the key thing I've identified here is FINRA's obligations to foster cooperation and coordination of the clearing, settling and processing of transactions in equity debt securities of any issue where the class of publicly traded non-exchange listed securities in the OTC to protect investors and the public interest. So reminder to FINRA, if you want to protect investors and you want to protect the public interest, you must issue those corporate notices. So that's a very strong message from me, very strong message from John Brda, very strong message from the Wales, and most importantly, it's a very strong message from every single investor there. Section A, to protect investors and public interest. This is Rule 6490. FINRA, please take note of your own rules. So let's continue with the rules here. The next section is section B. So it states here, action must be complete and submitted to the department in the manner and form required no later than the time frame specified in SEA Rule 2B17. So FINRA, I don't think the company will have completed and submitted the form in a late manner, so that does not apply. So that's not an excuse. Next thing here, number 3, all requests to process documentation related to other company related actions must be completed and submitted to the department in the form required no later than the time period prescribed for other company related actions, no later than 10 calendar days. So again, I have complete assurance that this requirement of not submitting within the 10 calendar days is not an issue. So no grounds for objection under section 3 of section B, request for FINRA action. So you have no grounds there. Number 4, the department may request such additional information or documentations. So FINRA, feel free to ask any additional documentations or requests, but the SEC have cleared this. The SEC are happy. The SEC are satisfied. And remember, message to FINRA here is the SEC is a government organisation unlike yourselves. So let's move on to the next part here, number 3, and this is section D that I've highlighted under the review. So this is your own rules here, FINRA. So you said we shall review all requests to process documentation related to SEA Rule 10B17 actions and or other company related actions. So why don't you go ahead and do that? Go ahead, process the documentation. We are waiting. I think we're currently on day 7, and investors will expect completion of this review by Monday. And then the final bit I'd like to have a look at here is under deficiency determination, section 3, and what I'd like to focus on here is department shall make deficiency determinations solely on the basis of one or more of the following factors. So FINRA staff reason believe the forms and all supporting documentation in whole or part may not be complete, accurate or with proper authority. So if you're going to use this excuse, FINRA, you will be a joke. Number 2, the issuer is not in the current or in its supporting requirements, if applicable, to the SEC or other regulatory authority, has actual knowledge that the issuer, associated persons, officers, directors, transfer agent, legal advisors, promoters, or other persons connected to the issuer, SEA Rule 10B17 action or other company-related action are subject to a pending, adjudicated or settled regulatory action or investigation. I don't think there's any case of any investigation going on that could affect this. So again, do not use this number 2 section under section 3 deficiency determination. That does not apply. And then going ahead, FINRA otherwise has actual knowledge that the issuer, associated persons involved, officers, directors, transfer agents, legal advisors, promoters or other persons connected may be potentially involved in fraudulent activity. So you think George Palikaros, John Brda, the Wales, Greg McCabe are going to be involved in fraud? We know the answer is no, so that's not applicable again. So try again, FINRA. And finally, notice regarding determination. FINRA staff shall provide written notice to the requesting party. Any notice issued under this paragraph shall state that the specific factors that cause request to be deemed deficient The requesting party may appeal a determination pursuant to paragraph of the rule. So I'm going to go a little bit further here and say if there is any concerns raised by FINRA, first of all, yes, there will be an appeal, but I think I'm going to go a bit further here that FINRA, you are on watch, and we will probably be looking at litigation as well. What I'd now like to do is share with you a response from William Stuart, who is the second largest holder of MMTLP. So in conversation with him earlier today, is some of the key points raised is with regards to John Brda. I think there may be a perception that John Brda is a little bit frustrated in terms of what's happened previously. John Brda has stated that obviously with the market makers who created MMTLP, how has that been allowed to happen, and what were FINRA doing? So there is frustration there, and obviously it goes back to the history of TRCH. So the other opinion shared by William Stuart was obviously this is also creating a little bit of political noise. So this was something that was shared on CNBC with Charles Payne. So that was tagged in earlier. So shout out to Syntax for reminding us everybody on about that. As well as that, Will also believes that FINRA will have to act. FINRA do know everything that is going on, and obviously FINRA are aware of people's frustrations and concerns. So the only thing they could do is maybe give a little bit more time to short in theory. There could be a little bit of a delay, but highly doubtful. But for now, we are going to stick with the dates given, and we are all going to expect corporate notices hopefully to go out Monday and no later than Tuesday, unless FINRA have some grounds which we are not expecting, and nobody has stated that is going to happen. So the other thing William has said, he has very close to around about 18 million shares. So obviously the number of shares that he has, but the other thing that William has stated, he's not in the slightest bit worried. He's very happy, he's gone out, he's not concerned, he still has full belief in the process. He believes there are more shorts than shares available to buy, and that is right now why things may be becoming a little bit heated, because the shorts could lose big time in this play. So another reminder from William here is that FINRA is not a government regulator like the SEC. So remember everybody, we have had SEC approval. Obviously everything there, the dates have been approved, the S1 has been approved, so no problems there. There is a possibility that FINRA could be affected by external influences, or certainly that is the perception, or that is the concern. SEC have approved, there is no legal process left to be followed, that's all been completed. Obviously William Stuart is a close friend of John Brda, and they do meet regularly. Key message at the end from myself as well as William and all the other key insiders: nothing has changed. The whales are not selling, they are still holding. The shorts are still trapped, the shorts are still not covered. There are many synthetics out there as well. And finally, William Stuart is very content with the situation, so no need to worry. I finally like to finish off by giving a shout out to our weekly watch list. This is shared exclusively with the Discord members to Proud to Trading on the Monday. So if you'd like to get the next copy of the weekly watch list, you can certainly join us. Details are in the description below. In the previous week, we called out, as well as MMTLP, we called out ticker symbol COSN. That did exceptionally well. I think it was up close to 35% on the Friday. We also called out VEON, which did quite well. GOEV did quite well as well as MANU. So if you'd like to get the next list, details are in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.